Vincenzo's Gold Crypto Investing, the January the 24th, 2025 daily cryptocurrency and XRP video. The only way, the one and only Vincenzo can do. My Coinbase and Robinhood links are below. Also, the $2.99 Jabroni Killer, the best in industry cheapest value on YouTube, JE, is down there in the video description or the pinned comment to help support the channel. And we're going to get right on into this with the XRP, and then we'll do a couple more of these videos, and we're going to look to see what's going on here. And what we got going on in the XRP is we're getting the bearish or rejection action up at a major critical history of the coin near or has just briefly broken at 340 record high. And now we're trying to figure out, is the price in XRP going to go down, or is the price in XRP going to pump? And we could have a couple of things going on. We have two patterns that we could be in. Three, technically. The first one is, are we in a head and shoulders short-term topping reversal pattern where you have that? You can see you have, with our industry exclusive perching tool, you would have your left shoulder, your head now, then you would come down to your neckline right there, and then your right shoulder that could be forming into the future. And then your technical target on a breakdown of that would be from the top of the head to the neckline right there, which would get you to the point of a breakout all the way down here at $1.29. If this is a short-term head and shoulders topping reversal pattern after a massive, massive bull run. Or we're gonna, now that we've seen that, we'll put that back smaller because this is something we're going to be tracking until we see exactly what pattern that there is that it's breaking out of. Or could we be saying this is a massive bull flag, right? Where you have, again, with our industry exclusive perching tool, from the bottom of the pump from the Trump election all the way to the top is a massive flagpole. And then this, starting from December the 1st through December the 31st, was a 1 month long consolidation where you had descending overhead resistance and you had horizontal underneath support at the same level. And then it broke out of that just now, and your technical target would be all the way up there at $12, right? That's a possibility. Or you could have a third area that you are, because you're still trying to form the head on this head and shoulders topping reversal pattern. And you could say that this was a breakout, and then this is a flagpole right here, another flagpole. Let's delete this one and change the colors on this, and we're going to make this bigger. You had the breakout there, but then here's where your flagpole started. We're going to make that bigger, and we're going to make this purple this time. And then that was where your flagpole started right here. You see that right here? And then now you're consolidating on a smaller scale flagpole and a bear flag where you have your descending overhead resistance, your descending underneath support. And then on the point of a breakout, you would see flagpole, flag, point of the breakout, which would be right in here. And that would get you up there to that $4.71. And then that might be the end of your local run before consolidation. So those are the three things that we're looking at. And to see the very important areas that we're looking at is you have your 200-day moving average, and none of these moving averages have you hit since the Trump election. So it's been about 3 months almost, and that's a very long time in the daily time frame not to run up against any of your moving averages. But as we do know, the $2.56 level is your major underneath short-term support. And as long as you're above that, you are very, very strongly bullish in the short term. Even if you corrected down to there in the short term, you could have as much as a 24.5% correction and still be extremely, extremely short-term bullish, right? And that's very important to understand. But if you want to get extremely, extremely bullish without a consolidation, you break above this, flip this 340 as support, and then you can skyrocket all the way up there very, very quickly to that $4.71 level. But on any kind of pattern breakdown or sell off and profit taking, your first area to hit would be the 50-day moving average in red. And then you might have a little bit of a pump. But if the volume doesn't come back in, you could actually trade all the way back down here to near the $2 range or the 100-day moving average in blue. So those are the things that I'm watching out for in the XRP price. And if we zoom in here a little bit closer in the XRP price, you can see that 340 has been heavy resistance right now, right after your big pump in mid-January. So that's what we're watching out for, is if you break down in the shorter time frame in the hour and you breach that 200-day in the hour, you're likely to come down all the way to this $2.56 level, which is your major underneath support. And that stems from back here where you had a consolidation below it, a consolidation below it, and then you had the catapult. That's your major underneath critical, ultimate, super bullish consolidation on any kind of retracement. As long as you would hold that, you are super bullish in the short to medium term. But if you broke below that, you might become short-term bearish. So that's something that we're going to watch out for here. And then this coin, in this update, we'll do some DGB for you. You can see the DGB, we need to go out into the daily time frame. DGB is now continuing to break down, and it's struggling to stay above this 200-day moving average in the daily time frame, as the moving averages have went parallel. And on this coin, one of the rare coins, it's actually started to trade down now. You can see the moving averages was at 0.0125 in the 50 yesterday. Now it's at 0.01198. The 200 days went from 1116 slightly down to 1110, and the 200-day is still level at the same area. But that's showing you short-term bearish action when the moving averages start to trade down. If you break below that 200-day in the daily, you're more than likely going to come all the way down here to this 0.00837. And from the current price, JE, the current price would get you the current price looks to be about right there. That would be another 19% fall. And from our major rejection point up here, that would be a combined 72% retracement. Not saying it's going to happen, but it could. But on the upside, if the bulls come back in and defend and the hype and the momentum get back in there, you could come all the way up to that 20 cents for a regional double top in the daily, which would be a triple top, because back here you had a wick that you spiked up to it in April of 2024, almost a year ago, about 10 months ago. But then after that, you can see what happened before the next run back up there. We went from that swing high to that swing low on that fateful day where we bottomed out just before the Trump election, and it did conveniently enough 79% correction. So that is something that I'm watching out for there. The algo, we already did the algo. We want the amp, the old amp coin. Amp, I'm still very bullish on the short term, and we're trying to break out of this bull flag in amp. In this bull flag, you can see we have the flag pull, we have the down and sideways consolidation with the overhead resistance and the down descending overhead resistance and descending underneath support into this rising channel. And you can see this rising channel is right there, and it's attempting to break out of it. And with our first move right here, where we got some life back, we peaked up, came back down to it, holding it as support. And if this can continue to break out of this instead of break down, our first target is up there at 3.5 cents. And I still do believe we're going to, an amp, come between that 3.5 and 0.078 cents sometime in the short to medium term. So I'm very bullish on AMP still. I know it's been painful, but AMP is also always painful, where you have big spikes very quickly, and then you have a nice consolidation before our next big pump. And I'm still anticipating a big pump in AMP. Let's get all the way down here. Let's run the gauntlet. Oh, it doesn't just stop at the bottom. If we look at Velo, right? Velo is back down into this pennant, or this uh or this bear flag, or this rising wedge, otherwise known as, where you have overhead underneath, rising support, and then overhead resistance. You have overhead resistance, a rising overhead an uptrending, excuse me, a little tongue-tied, an uptrending overhead resistance, and you have an uptrending underneath support. And what makes a rising wedge is you have those two uptrending, and then you have it very wide at the beginning, and then the price tightens as you move up until you have a point of a breakout and it has to squeeze itself out of there. And that's what we're watching out for. And if this is going to trade back down to underneath support, the 0.014549 is your major underneath support, and your 0.029879 is your major overhead resistance, where if you can confirm a breakout, you would pump all the way up to the just above the 8 cent level. But if you do break down out of this formation, I have warned that your underneath target on a clone would be all the way down here, where the technical target on a breakdown is where the pattern started to form, right? And that's all the way down there at 0.002429. And that's something that we're going to have to continue to pay attention to and continue to follow. IOTA is sitting there just below the 0.389 level in this red resistance box. And we're attempting to break out of that, but we're not having success. And if we break down, we're going to come back close to the 200-day moving average, or the 21 to 22 cents. The old Quant is still stagnating sideways consolidation. On a breakdown, you would want to hold that 95.54 to stay bullish. But if you broke below that, you could have a much bigger fall. And we'll get into that a little bit later on today or tomorrow's video. On a break up, you could go all the way up to 274, but that has a lot of work that would need to be done. Like, subscribe, and share to Vincenzo's Gold Crypto Investing. Peace and love.